Those of us who have been around the video game industry for a while would say we've seen some pretty wild rumors in our day, all the way back to the IGN April Fool's jokes and Street Fighter 2 being able to play as the end bosses and telling all your schoolyard friends, yeah, I saw it in a magazine, it's true. And then it always ended up being fake. As much as you thought it was the most outlandish, ridiculous thing in the world, maybe it's true. But then we get to the modern era of gaming, and the rumors that are going around right now are becoming so ridiculously insane that I'm like, there's actually no feasible way that this is true. But then again, it just might be. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Assassin's Creed Shadows has had a checkered history throughout development, and that's giving it credit. And there's been quite a bit of controversy surrounding one of the main protagonists, Yasuke, and how he's a black, quote-unquote, samurai in feudal Japan who beats up Japanese people to rap music.
Fights, there is a hip-hop soundtrack only for him.
I saw it, but I didn't really see it.
Greed cannot rule this village. Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my hand.
I said kill him.
Brought to you by...
And it really didn't sit well with a lot of people in Japan. Actually, worldwide. Anyone that wasn't knee-deep engulfed in DEI agendas was looking at this like, who the hell came up with this idea of a character beating up old Japanese people to rap music who's a black samurai? This is the most insane thing ever. Coming from Ubisoft, a company saying that they're paying respects to Japan, all along the way beheading the Japanese people with this guy. It is beyond parody how far this has gone. But now, with the latest rumors of Ubisoft backing up and backing off with what they were doing with initially putting this game out in November, they have now kicked it back to Black History Month in February 2025. And if that wasn't funny enough, now there are rumors saying that it's actually not going to come out then either. That was just an initial kickback to ease the investors' minds, quell their fears and let them know the game's still on track. It's feature complete. We just need to polish it up a bit to make sure it looks great and it runs perfectly so there are no issues with it. When in reality, behind the scenes, apparently Ubisoft is looking at this game saying, we need to completely remove Yasuke and replace him with a new character from Japan and redo the entire game. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down how Ubisoft is now rumored to be investigating Yasuke, and if this is a main protagonist they will be moving forward with, or if they're going to completely remove him from the game and instead replace him with the white Japanese dude that should have been there from day one. The news that Ubisoft is rumored to be making major changes to the portrayal of Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows has sent shockwaves throughout the entire gaming community. After announcing a 3-month delay, Ubisoft is appearing to now be undertaking the herculean task of altering not just minor details and polishing the game up, but potentially changing an entire character arc in the game that is supposedly feature complete. If we are to believe rumors started by Tom Henderson and Insider Gaming, dropping this megaton bomb. And just one person saying it, I'd be like, that's just a rumor. One offset dude that's just saying this one thing that maybe he's speculating. Maybe there's a one-off person at Ubisoft saying they were talking about this. But this rumor has been corroborated. In fact, it started with Endymion a day before when he made a video that completely blew up. I watched it when it had like 1,000 views. It's already in the multiple hundreds of thousands of views now, talking about how he had an insider at Ubisoft talking to him about how the game completely lost its way and why Yasuke was put in there in the first place. But before I get to Endymion, let's talk about Tom Henderson's take, because as somebody who's worked in the game industry, if you're not familiar, I was a game tester at Sony. I've been a game master for EverQuest. I've worked in the recruiting industry for multiple game companies along the west coast of the United States. And never have I seen a situation where a game got put on ice to completely remove and inject a new, different protagonist that was feature complete. That is absolute insanity. Anyone who's worked on a game knows that making major narrative changes or character changes late in development is unthinkable, to put it nicely. It's like trying to fix the foundation of a house after you've already put the roof on it. It's, yeah, possible, but it doesn't make any sense. It takes a lot more work than just redoing something. Assassin's Creed Shadows was initially touted as a feature-complete game with an official release date that has now been pushed back to Black History Month in February 2025. Yet here we are, witnessing Ubisoft scramble to rewrite Yasuke's story to maybe not completely remove him, but move him from being a main protagonist to being kind of a side character story and a greater quest. According to Tom Henderson, he said, "But first, let me address some of the wild rumors about Yasuke. He's not going to be removed. However, sources have said that the team has been actively addressing many of the historical and cultural concerns, which started before the game's reveal following external playtests and were accelerated further following the game's initial reveal and mass feedback. This includes changing some of Yasuke's story and how he's portrayed in the game, fixing architectural details, and ensuring the game is historically grounded while fitting into Assassin's Creed universe. Fundamentally, though, these are issues that should have been caught internally before the game's reveal, especially given Ubisoft's strict access approval process." From my perspective, this undertaking is no less than a mad dash to rectify years of purposeful oversight. Something that should have been addressed long ago. Something that I and many other YouTubers out there, and hell, most of Twitter as well, have been saying from day one. What the hell is going on here? There are full Reddit threads talking about this. Everyone on message boards. Why did Ubisoft go this way? What the heck is this pandering? Why are they injecting this DEI so far brutally in your face? And if you say no to it, they're just going to call you a racist and a bigot because you're the problem. It doesn't work anymore. And Ubisoft is learning that in real time. This isn't just about tweaking dialogue or cutting a problematic line. It's about completely restructuring the mechanics, the narrative arcs, and even the character's identity to align better with the expectations of the accuracy in feudal Japan, going alongside the audience sensitivity, especially many of the very upset people in Japan that were looking at this as a DEI money grab. This kind of level of change requires reworking the design of multiple systems, recontextualizing the game's content, all of which is very expensive, time-consuming, and highly prone to generating more issues in addition to the ones they already had in the process, none of which Ubisoft has endless amounts to afford in the first place. And when Indibian was talking about this on his channel, his insider had told him specifically, quote, "The game did first include a male Japanese main character, but they were swapped sometime during 2020, according to my source, for Yasuke instead." He continued, "They said that Ubisoft was heavily influenced by the socio-political events of the time with stuff like, and no, I'm not kidding, George Floyd dying, the riots, and Black Lives Matter exploding in support." Think about that for a second. This is specifically telling you that Ubisoft was going out of their way to inject a black protagonist into a game where he does not belong, just trying to pander to what they thought was going to be a financially lucrative angle. He later added, "Ubisoft may have opted to include Yasuke in order to pander to identity politics because of Black Lives Matter." To which Hypnotic posted on Twitter, "The resemblance is uncanny." And yes, this is an altered photo of George Floyd instead of Yasuke. Gamers still are undefeated when it comes to memeing. The rumored changes here reflect a clear attempt to satisfy any of the critics who raised concerns over the original portrayal of Yasuke in the first place. Concerns that range from the game's historical inaccuracies to, wait for it, giving Yasuke a hip-hop musical theme. And I wish I was making that up. But no, this is something that is not just in the trailers of the game that Ubisoft was like, whoa, we probably shouldn't have done that. Apparently in the game itself, he had his own rap track. Really, Ubisoft?
You get in a car with them, they turn on the hip hop channel, and then they look at you. This one's for you.
Who do you think you are?
Oh my God, bro.
And no, I'm not offended by this. I'm embarrassed by the pathetic pandering that they were trying to do, thinking that they were doing a good thing for the black community instead of pissing on millions of Japanese people in feudal Japan. It's like, how narrow-minded do you have to be to do what Ubisoft was doing and not think, maybe this might not look right to the people who are not part of what we're trying to inject. The lessons Ubisoft should have learned from the past blunders are falling on deaf ears at this point. And Star Wars Outlaws has been a flop. Even Ubisoft themselves admitted this, and I talked about that in a previous video, where Ubisoft is not a new company. This is something that they've been around for a while, and if they were new, maybe people would be a little bit more forgiving. But this is an old company. They've been around for years, decades, putting many times pretty decent game experiences out there until they started going heavy into the knee-deep DEI route, where they had to inject things that just didn't fit the overall atmosphere of the game. And it's blatantly obvious. And now what looks like a desperate gamble by Ubisoft in hopes for some sort of payoff from what looks like a lost cause that could have been completely avoided if they just listened from day one. But here's the thing, they were so ingrained with their own mindset of, we can do no wrong and we know what's best for you and you will eat whatever we shove down your throat, gamers. Gamers were like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. And it took until now for Ubisoft to be like, pump the brakes. This isn't going to work. They're going to not buy this game and we're going to be screwed. But at this point, they're going to divide their audience even more and piss off maybe some of the modern audience that was interested in buying this game. And if you completely remove Yasuke from being the main protagonist and injecting a white Japanese dude instead, that might piss off them for saying, hey, where's my black Yasuke samurai representation that you promised me in all those ads? I'm not going to buy this game either. And people on both sides are going to look at it like, no one's buying this. And Ubisoft could be left with a game that nobody wants. It's wild to think that all of this chaos and uncertainty could have been avoided if Ubisoft just made the right calls from the beginning. It's a painful reminder of how crucial the initial stages of character development and narrative planning really are. By championing the DEI instead of authentic storytelling, it's exactly how messes like this begin in the first place. And this is not just careless, it's indicative of a far broader issue within the entire management structure over at Ubisoft to allow a situation like this to completely spiral out of control and end up where they are right now, where they're now kicking the can down the road of this game, saying it's feature complete and ready, but we're going to delay it because of polishing. Yeah, we're going to polish it. It's feature complete, it's ready, but we've learned so much from Star Wars Outlaws that we just got to, buff out the edges on the game to make sure, it's a good game experience. When in reality, if these rumors do prove to be true, they're not doing that at all. They're going back to the drawing board, going back to their very initial first design of a character that was supposed to be in the game and reinserting them back there and then recreating new dialogue and doing it all over from the beginning. It is, like I said at the beginning, a herculean task to ask a developer to start all over again with a brand new character and try to mangle this mess of Yasuke and inject him as a side character instead and still make the game somehow flow together. In the end, this hasty rewrite might just be the most telling sign yet of Ubisoft's ongoing struggles, and that's saying something. Their stock is going to an all-time low, and they are completely unaware of how bad they really screwed the pooch with all of this. Whatever the outcome of Assassin's Creed Shadows ends up being, this right here is a story to show every developer, every publisher, and say, don't ever make this mistake again. It can not only destroy a game, but in Ubisoft's case, potentially an entire company. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the entire article. Again, huge shout out to Endymion and Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming, two incredible sources for what looks to be one of the wildest, potentially true rumors I've ever seen in gaming history. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button, and as always, you stay smashing.
Then he had a video where he said, I'm out, going to get a real job again. But he couldn't, his ego, like he would film videos while he was in the car. He couldn't just let it go because he wanted that clout, man.
Smash Smash